The world is changing, and it threatens the very existence of human civilization. Before the year 2050, the Earth and human civilization will be fundamentally changed from an economical, environmental, technological, and biological perspective. Behind all of the promises of progress and innovation, there is also a darker side. These potentially cataclysmic risks could transform human civilization in ways we may not be prepared for. Some are grounded in verified data, while others are extrapolated from the direction society and biology is headed in. It's a chilling vision of what could unfold in the not-so-distant future, and we may not be able to stop it. Let's begin. Imagine a world where the climate has not just changed, but crossed a tipping point that cannot be reversed. This isn't science fiction, it's the trajectory we're on. By the 2030s, the Arctic may become ice-free in the summer, triggering a feedback loop where dark ocean water absorbs more heat, warming the planet even faster. Entire regions could become uninhabitable, not just due to the rise of the sea level, but because of lethal heat and humidity combinations that the human body simply cannot survive. Megacities in South Asia, the Middle East, and parts of Africa could face heat and humidity temperatures that make outdoor exposure for a few hours fatal. Crops fail at a global level, livestock die. Human migration skyrockets. International borders become militarized and conflicts over food and water dramatically escalate. All of human civilization begins to fracture, not gradually, but in surging waves of human displacement, unrest, and starvation. It's a future Earth that will not be so pleasant to live in. Then there's the unsettling trajectory of artificial intelligence. By 2050, AI systems will significantly surpass human-level intelligence. What that means in practical terms is unclear and perhaps impossible to fully predict. Will AI remain a tool, or will it begin to act with its own interests, goals, and reasoning? Experts in the field are already debating whether an artificial superintelligence would even align with human values, or if it would pursue its own objectives that are indifferent or even hostile to ours. The terrifying part is that we might not even recognize that moment when it arrives. A super AI entity doesn't need to become malevolent to be dangerous. It just needs to pursue a goal with sufficient power and efficiency that humans become collateral damage. AI that is tasked with solving climate change might shut down entire power grids, restrict industrial activity, or even limit population growth in unpleasant ways if it's not explicitly programmed to do otherwise. And the more interconnected our infrastructure becomes, the more power we quietly hand over. By 2050, we may live in a world shaped by decisions no human actually made, or no human can stop. Another serious looming threat is the possibility of biological collapse. This isn't about a single virus like COVID-19, it's about ecosystem failure on a planetary scale. Insects, the invisible engineers of nature, are dying off at alarming rates. Pollinators like bees and butterflies are slowly declining in numbers, which threatens international food chains and systems that depend on them. Coral reefs, which support 25% of marine life, are racing into extinction. Forests are being chopped down or burnt to ash. All of this destabilizes the delicate ecological balance that supports life as we know it. By 2050, we could experience cascading extinctions that unravel food chains, making certain foods scarce, driving up costs and forcing entire agricultural systems to adapt or collapse. Imagine a world where pollination is done by drones, where food becomes a luxury in certain regions, or where nature itself no longer behaves predictably. This isn't just an environmental issue, It's the slow breakdown of a global biological system that has quietly supported humanity for millennia. One of the most serious and predictable catastrophes humanity is heading for by 2050 is out-of-control global population. The global population is expected to surpass 10 billion people, pushing the limits of what Earth's ecosystems and infrastructure can support. Overpopulation is not just about numbers, it's about the immense pressure placed on food systems, freshwater supplies, housing, energy, and healthcare. As cities swell into megacities and rural land is transformed into sprawling human developments, arable land becomes scarcer and more expensive. The competition for basic resources intensifies, and regions already struggling with poverty and political instability may be pushed past the breaking point. Overcrowding in urban centers can lead to soaring unemployment, rising crime rates, overwhelmed medical systems, and deteriorating living conditions. The psychological toll of densely packed human environments can easily spark unrest on both a global and individual level. Perhaps most terrifying, overpopulation will act as a force multiplier, exacerbating every other crisis facing human civilization. More mouths to feed, massive crop shortages, human displacement into the billions, global climate disasters, and unsustainable pressure on fragile water supplies. If left unmanaged, the sheer scale of this human disaster brought on by overpopulation could become the very thing that destabilizes the entire planet, and with it, our entire civilization. One of the most chilling societal changes manifesting by 2050 is the very real possibility of human fragmentation. Not through war or collapse, but through technological enhancement and AI transformation. As biotechnology, brain-computer interfaces, and genetic engineering become mainstream, we could see the emergence of post-human classes. Individuals enhanced beyond current human limitations. What begins as medicine or therapy evolves into voluntary human enhancement such as sharper minds, stronger bodies, and longer lives. But these technologies and enhancements will not be available to the entire population. They will be very expensive, selective, and likely monopolized by the wealthiest and most powerful. This could create a biological caste system where unmodified humans are viewed as obsolete, where inequality is not just economic but physiological. The terrifying aspect is not just the rise of a new elite, but the potential loss of a shared human identity. If some people are engineered for dominance, empathy, or even obedience, what does it mean to even be human? And what is the chance that this biotech enhancement turns into a Borg-like monstrosity, similar to that on Star Trek? We may find ourselves in a world where the definition of humanity is fluid, controlled by those with the means to reshape it. Or maybe even a global super AI-controlled system. These hypothetical scenarios are not guaranteed to happen, but they are not fiction either. They are the logical extremes of trends already underway. The same innovations that could save us could also destroy us. It will depend on how they are used, who controls them, and whether we act with foresight or continue drifting toward the unknown. Whether we arrive at 2050 with our humanity intact, our ecosystems functioning, and our values preserved will depend on what we do now, not decades from now. The window to shape the future is still open, but narrowing quickly. We are standing in the shadow of immense possibility, and within that shadow are visions of both hope and horror. If we do nothing, the worst futures may not just come true, they may come to define us and result in the end of human civilization as we know it. I'd like to thank you for exploring 5 global calamities that may happen before 2050, and I invite you back for our next episode